This is Duke University.
A sand-anointed voice spoke of survival. Wood scratched raw, scoured bough, and of low sky poked at by branches, blown rush, thrown voice, leg bone flute. Wind we all filled up with, caught in the tree we lay underneath. Tree filled up with wind, and more wind, more than could be said of it said. So-called ascendancy of shadow, branch, would-be roost. Now not only a tree, more than a tree. It was the bending of boughs we'd read about, Ibn Arabi's reft ipseity, soon come condolence, thetic suff. We saved our breath, barely moved, said nothing. Soon come suzerainty, volubly afoot. Braided what we read and what we heard and what stayed sailess. Giggly wind, wood, riffling wood. A Moroccan reed flute's desert wheeze took our breath. Floor we felt we stood on, caustic earth we stood across. It was Egypt or Tennessee we were in. No one, eyes X'd out, could say which. Fleet millenarian we it now was, whose arrival the wind announced. Night found us the far side of Stealaway Ridge, eyes crossed out, X's what were left, nameless what we saw, we not saw. We ducked and ran, rained on by tree sap, dreaming, chattered at by wind and leaf stir, more than we'd have dreamt or thought. We lay on our backs looking up at the limbs of the tree we lay underneath. Leaves our pneumatic book. We lay on our backs unceased reprise. North of us was all an emolument, more than we'd have otherwise run. We worked at crevices, cracks, convinced we'd pry love loose, wrote our names out 7 times in dove's blood, kings and queens, crowned ourselves in sound. Duke was there, prayers, lady, count, Pharaoh came later. The soon come Congress we'd heard so much about. Soon come even sooner south. So there was a new mood suddenly, blue but up-tempo, parsed, bitten into. All of us got our share. Pecks, what had been kisses, beaks, what once were lips. Other than we were as we lay under tree limbs, red-beaked birds known as mooning what we were, heads crowned in sound, only in sound. While we're alive, we kept repeating. Tongues, throats, roofs of our mouths bone dry, skeletons we'd someday be. Panicky masks we wore for effect, more than effect, more real than we'd admit. No longer wanting to know what soul was, happy to see shadow, no touch. Happy to have sun at our backs, wayled by shadow, happy to have bodies, block light. Afternoon sun lighting leaf, glint of glass, no matter what. About to be out of body, it seemed. Soon to be shadowless, we thought, said we thought, not to be off guard, caught out. Gray morning we meant to be done with. Requiem so sweet we forgot what it lamented. Teeth turning to sugar, we grinned. Day after day of the dead, we were desperate. Dark what the night before we saw lit. Bones we'd eventually be. At day's end, a new tally, but there it was, barely begun. Rock the clock tower let go of. Iridescent headstone, moments rebuff. Soul we saw, said we saw, invisible imprint. No one wanted to know what soul was. Day after day of the dead, we were deaf, numb to what the night before we said moved us. Fey lights coded locale. I fell away, we momentarily gone. Deaf but to brass's obsequy, low brass's croon begun. I fell away, not fast, floated. Momentary mention in accord with the wind. Day after day of the dead, the same as day before day of the dead. No surprise, I fell away muttering, knew no one would hear, not even me. We wore capes under which we were in sweaters out at the elbow. Arms on the table, we chewed our spoons. Mouthing the blues, moaned an abstract truth, kept eating. The dead's morning after buffet, someone said it was. Feast of the unfed, said someone else. What were we doing there? The exegete kept asking. Adamant, uninvited, morose. Elbows in the air like wings, we kept eating. Rolled our eyes, kept shoveling it in. Day after day of the dead, we were them. We ate inexhaustibly, ate what wasn't there. Dead no longer dying of thirst, hungover, turned our noses up to what was. It was me. We were it, insensate. Sugared sweat was what we drank tasted like. Even so, the tips of our tongues tasted nothing. We sipped without wincing. We ate cakes, we ate fingernail soup, a new kind of gazpacho. No one willing to say what soul was. Knucklebone souffle we ate gristle. Eyes we took from flies flying backward, a kind of caviar. None of us wanting to say what soul was. Lakshmi wept as we made our way outward. Blue devotion's annuity looped and led back. Reluctance's allure yet to accrue. Larger than life, they'd lain belly to belly. Patch of hair pressing patch of hair, leg pressing leg. All they'd have otherwise been held in abeyance. Krishna's remnant kiss. Whatever after the fact embrace had hold of her, we listened. Bamboo hollow, the heart of it. Bamboo flutes, burnt opening, blown on. Whole, his breath finessed. Flush lozenge, lipped, let go of. Tongue to have tarried on tongue, less than a memory. Sound, what might have been. Lakshmi wept as we made our way, birth after birth. Two-headed hollow, beaten on at both ends. Long, long log we slept in, mirrors amanuenses. Mud bouquet. Sat gameless at the gaming table. Sitar knuckling the nights one luster. Spoke, sputtered, made sputter speak. A diffuse kiss, low to the ground, blue reconnoiter. Voice, also known as Rat Tavern. Bar be my altar, it sang. Semi sang, semi wept. Lakshmi's bond and abatement. Held but not had. Had held, turkey and girth. Caught strings, cut our thumbs. Insofar as there was an I, it wasn't hers we heard her insinuate, of late begun to be elsewhere, the late when she'd one day be. Simi sang, Simi wept, as we lost her at the gaming table. Thumbs all thumbs, no thumbs to hold on with. Held not, had was her new, what had its way with us. Held not had her numb regret. Lakshmi sang as we sat stuck at the gaming table, hands tied down by sympathetic strings. To be was to be at her behest. Sought bodily solace, bodilessness, reluctant allure it seemed. A certain way she had with Krishna's going, beautiful rebuff she made it seem. We'd been born by a wind we hardly knew was blowing, rung notes lingering moment to moment, phonic perfume it seemed. Seemed it said cover, seemed it said collect, seemed it bid reaching goodbye, went on reaching, seemed it told all it said no. We sat aloft looking in on ourselves. 5 layers we'd have to get through to get to what lay underneath. A low hum came from under the gaming table. Chance's debt reneged on. Romance's bet called off. We took to the road, Ouagadougou revisited, more times fallen asleep than we could count. We're all as we would want, we reminded ourselves, we that we were on our way toward. All else behind, Ouagadougou no way. Baltimore it was we were in. Baltimore it was, then Cincinnati. Stone buildings meant to mean forever, squat stone stacked against time. So it was away was all there was of it. It the inside we were after, not there where we were or not there when we were, said to have been there, but gone. Second bodies carried us farther. We were truly Blue Fossa now. Live at the Apollo was on the box and we sang along. Each the Apollonian someone we sang about, lost Apollonian someone. Second body we lagged behind. We the Andumbulu, we the Blue Fossa, we the hurt commencement whose hurt kept rippling, we the ones who thought of them still. Outside Cincinnati it got green again. The river and the river valley went on forever, idyllic outside the knots inside our vehicle. Itamar calling Sophia his Gnostic hottie, not the least. We rode along, we measured our dismay. We audited the life whose allegory our wandering was. Itamar called Sophia his Gnostic haughty again and again, straddling another life, it seemed. Cheeks each the size of my hand, he muttered, trance-like, lost and remembering, it seemed. Flown moment, he lamented, gone again, on the road. Sophia kissed her fingertip, shushed him, blushed a little, it seemed. So spoke the lamented moment outside the bubble we were otherwise in. Moment's gnosis moving on, agreed with. Broken moment, sophic moment flowed from. The short while we could all be there was all we wanted. There wasn't anything we were after anymore. It all flew by. It all flew by, a blur of green, brown, and blue, unintruded on by this or that somewhere, whatever elsewhere we were leaned on by. The life whose allegory our wandering was ours again. Each element its own leaf, its own legend, itself said of itself. No recondite itineraries, dictates hurried us. It was what it was, one was tempted to say, but bit one's tongue. What Itamar, calling Sophia his Gnostic haughty, had lit, subsided. Her eyes, big with him in them, no longer a glimpse into another life. Hurtling past the stars, had it been a rocket we were in, our van fluxing green, brown, and blue. Ohio fell away. We traveled east, heading west. Lost tribe known by name alone. We came to ridge after ridge after ridge, an impending world inside the one we were in. Steal away ridge, long since left behind. Going forward lay on everyone's lips, wishful, a wand we waved, would-be wand, insistent, spell we'd have cast if we could. We of the book's blue fascicle, a new pact between name and not knowing, rag, tatter, ravening bundle, raveling thread. Bundled incense, Neroli's plum funk, we smelled of the east. At no point on any map, at all points on every map, so went the doctrine we'd read. It was an ode to the nth self and soul our ride rang changes on. Bled undercoats, blue primer, painted over, a coat of many colors we wanted to say. World we wanted to say, be pallid, move polity, movements pretend purity, ruse, unrest. World, we said instead, be still, not meaning it, nubs, pleonastic rut. Something one of us had read had hold of us, questions, answer jam. Said it seemed a stick bodily breakdown wielded, a boon albeit none of us knew why, anagogic baton. It was the book of erasing the book attached us to. Rub as we did or would, do deceptivement, light blue blank or dissolve. A movie it occurred we were in, strewn amplitude, third, fourth, fifth embattlement, to be at odds it seemed. Sophic moment, more move than moment, a certain something's tug from inside. Something seen in a face, it seemed a world opened out from. Love's republic, a real place it seemed. Second bodies recollected somewhere. Said somewheres, arrested cachet. So many beads told, horse jaw interstice. Ride, we told our horse, tell no. Came together a common wish to make real. Truly pretend fossa, Pretense made us blue, made up Andumbulu as well. Dystopic stint, utopic huddle. It was all a mask, a moving tableau. What became of us back when, we kept wondering? Where were we, and what did the names we heard mean? Bazumana Sissoko, live in Fallujah, was on the box. It made us hum. Tight strings, pinched and let go. A thin thread we hung by lifted us. The Ngoni's rattan rasp, unlikely even so, hoisted us, humming, we soared. So it was we made our way safely through Peep Show Pass. Money Shot War Report, the new breast and thigh. Our high Sahelian canto carried us. Live in Kandahar was up next. We were second-headed. We each had an outer body. All was inside, undisclosed. A long, heavenly road it would have been, had been ours to say, but there was no such getaway, no not being there. We were hungry ghosts. We rode farther east. We sat in back seats, eating gosht. We were in India, bumped across Uttar Pradesh. How far it was, we thought, far over. Each an insofar eyes host, guest, ghost, gone so much as gotten there. It wasn't we now knew what soul was. It wasn't Wagadu was near, it wasn't Wadada. We ambled on, moist-eyed, refusing to cry, stiff jaw set on second body's Elysium, second body's long run, come. We ate gosht. We sipped colonial sodas. We rode the insofar eyes totem horse we traded bodies with, told it, tell my horse, as we rode. Mix though we did, it wasn't there yet. The Vedic Vodun elixir we were after. Ital Bedouin brew. At one of our stops, I wandered off alone, second-headed even so. Second body inside my first head, it seemed. Burnt out factory, boarded up church. What Itamar had said he'd seen, it seemed I saw. Life whose allegory we were lost in. Sothic fire, Gnostic spark. I saw no light but what looking shed. I saw light. Light wheels spinning the size of a pin's head. Second-headed glimpse and gone. Came together, a common wish to make real, I remembered. Third, fourth, nth head and body. Third, fourth, nth remove or remit. The abandoned girl stood in line, or went online, unclear which. The abandoned one we all had been, or would be. To have been so real and so soon over, no joke, she kept repeating. A barracuda's hooked mouth, oracular, howling could a fish's mouth howl. Distant muse, distant music, distance, muse, and music. Song heard from a distance whose words we barely made out. Skin came up, as did hair, draped in terstice, hallowed backside, midriff, thigh. It wasn't music so much as what wasn't said we heard sung. Synesthetic husk, curvature, seen said vesture, redress. An odd song it was, all fret, fidget, the abandoned girl happy even so. We all were. We had phones we could talk to. Abject tale, again sweet in the telling. Tale we dialed up, talk we called alchemy, ruse we resorted to. We were lead, and she was gold, and vice versa. Gold a low whisper, high wind, vent whisper, a siren gold almost was. The insofar I sound it was, hers if not ours. Hers were ours to say, but she said otherwise. Stood in line or went on line. She couldn't say which, nor could we. Bump run as one with beneficence. Fuzz luminosity we'd heard about had come. The far sound was the sound we listened for. Not so much heard as heard of. Solace up ahead, or so it seemed, or somewhat was, forever and again soon come. We saw we'd stay extolling sonic rescue. Sound we heard we'd hear, heard it say we saw. Less a netherworld than a non-world, the far wall she stood on line at. Thread was on the box, all fidget, fret, a Hafriyati two-step, a hot-foot minuet. Death had caught her ear, we saw, whispered it among ourselves. We the barracuda's mouth hooked again, choristers against our will. The abandoned girl made us wish we were young again. We dreamt of gold and a kind of grape we'd never seen before. Everything in the dreamer we'd heard, dream or no dream, we'd heard. A scene said refrain we couldn't help kept at us. Refrain she staked her story on. A reach we took it to be. Golden bones lay on each plate as we broke bread. These too we took to be a reach. Dreamt a dream kept at arm's length. Dreamt it even so. Dream dreamt pulled away from the abandoned girl's abject want. Everything seen, the seer time was, recess turned inside out. The abandoned girl had come aboard back when, thumbed a ride on the edge of the road, hopped in, wearied us with tales of disarray. Uninhabited angel all over again, we dared reflect. The story of the story, our story. Recess turned inside out, it turned out. The abandoned girl demanded a name, laughed at each name we offered. The abandoned boy had done the same. An emotional abstract it appeared she set out to be or to arrive at. Insisted he did too. What were we, she kept asking. Band, clan, country, planet, low forest, lunglessness? What, she kept insisting, she wanted to know. Absolute orphan all over again, we dared reflect. Made up amends, got us nowhere. We who'd have been hers had she asked. What we were, we too wanted to know. Band, clan, country, planet, low forest, lunglessness. Rub, anesthetic refrain, blunt recurrence, costume exfoliant, faded distraint. The list, we insisted, went on. Rock chipped at we might have been, make-believe lineage, no deep need to be there. Had the abandoned girl and the abandoned boy been twins, we'd have passed out. Each the other's asymptotic scout we saw they were. Yet to learn, as we were, death's lesson, deep inside identity's den, made up descent. The abandoned girl sang abandonment, tight strings, tautologic run, self-taught. Again, we were in God is Gun country. The abandoned girl pointed out we were there. She'd woken up with the world in her face, we were told. On a screen, she'd seen crowds bound and shot. Glass wall, glass transport it came to. The abandoned girl, the abandoned boy, chemical stomach under it all. Her collapsing church, first and forever. Each the other's ricochet we heard, said we saw. Beadwork, told and retold, thumbed rosary. rubbed inner skins, antithesis, sad animal caught up in thought. Money talked and we watched, we were told. Footless, we voted with our feet. Sought refuge in walking, she said, what there was of it, nothing otherwise the same. Made a story what was attitude more than story. Each the other's bias they'd have had it, each in the other's place. The abandoned girl, the abandoned boy, no longer. Banal, said to say but true, she said. The abandoned girl, the abandoned boy again. All of which we saw now was only warm-up, now brought abreast of itself, abruptly gone again. Never now enough, now remonstrant, now's new remonstrance, cut. We too wanted to know what we were. In their restraint, floating structure, floating structurelessness, voyage we were carried by. Cracked rib, chronic whistle, thumbed exit. We too wanted to know, insisted it. Eldrin we might have been. All of which we saw now, bought time, took its time. Nothing she could say, said anything. Sing though she did as though sing took say's place. Say, long ago, let go. Sought solace, words rapport, cut loose, no solace. Abandonment itself sang, it seemed. Dropped opera, abandonment itself, self-taught, sang to itself, it seemed. Sang, says, forfeiture, chorused against itself. The abandoned girl, abandonment itself, self-serenade. We found, choraling, chorusing, caroling as well. The abandoned girl and the abandoned boy stood rib to rib, debating who's hurt worse, in line or gone online, unclear which. Far rampart, the wall they stood at, grown of late to become onward add-on, arithmetic salvo, isthmic fence. Asthmatic, diaphragmatic, of late budged inward as though a brass quintet blew taps. The morning's horn extended a palmful of sand. I felt a dry sprig on my face, frozen moment, moment's omen. Sleep's curtain kicked on top. I'd forgotten more about time than I could know I got up knowing. Cold duck time, the time I knew best. Head bad beyond all hope. Head, hand spread, sand uncupped. Hand extended. In the hollow of the morning's horn, I felt empty. Crook of an arm around my back, I couldn't say whose. Wishing it was my father, someone I knew at least. Again, I was the abandoned one. Hand extended, fingers flat, sand falling. The morning's horn's hollow abiding, unbeknown. Something inside it unbound. Whatever I thought I knew, gone by the wayside. What I knew about time, I got up knowing better. There'd been a fight between Robert and Mary was all I knew. Names more echoed than ever. Names meaning late, not meaning two. It was actually, I was only pretending. What I knew so simple, I'd gotten weary. Make-believe made it more real. We sat on the couch eating crab, remembering Robert and Mary, snug in the cul-de-sac, duck weathering well. Real, we wanted to say, beyond compare. Beyond repair, I heard, misheard. We sat on the couch, copacetic, nothing such occurring to us. Down at the cafe, we made fun of the Eldrin. Down on 4th by Bristol, tore up. Ripped, I'd say later, newly doggone, calling them the dead dying of thirst. Ripped word skirt, altar cloth, tears enough to drown in. Twin ship, tearing, read it, wept. The morning's horns hollow, so had me, I sewed with crab light. Stip, stitch, rhapsodic stitch, I apostrophized. So it was, and so it went. Blocked out intaglio, back with a vengeance. Lone Coast imbroglio, south of Lone Coast. They who'd only of late fallen in with our crew. Robert and Mary's breakup, all we knew. Not since Peter and Melissa had it been so. Names less addressed than echo. Insides lost, would be more than were. Names less than nomination. They were the kids Huff and Sophia would have had they had kids. The morning's horn's nasal pitch awakening memory. I was wondering, why was it so? Mighty fine, I remembered reading on a rock outside Vancouver, far from the waterless river I grew up near, with or without import, I couldn't say. It was less an epiphany than a footnote, quick reticence gone on by, pent synonymy, loath to relate. Reflected sun, stark light, cement banks, would-be water. Back, but only an instant, blinding me, so soon gone. The more I thought it metaphoric, the more real it was again. Recollected sun, hard light, cement conduit, nominal water. River so dry we rode our bikes across. The morning's horns let sand run through our fingers. Hollow whatever would be name, nomination. Time having in on it we saw, but were none the wiser. It wasn't we were being mystical. It wasn't we were meaning to be. It wasn't we were being anything that would frame it. Frames unflow our nemesis. Nominal wets rain, undone we'd have had it. Name something we saw. So went our song to the Santa Ana River, owed less than entreaty, water we beg it to be. Later we laughed at the waterless river, sipping duck, crab claw sweetness as good as it got, parched, liquorless ghosts. We were dry, the same drinkless dead, their complaint, threw back many for none if not them, dead by thirst what recourse, death by thirst what repair. The more I thought it metaphoric, the more real it was. A subtle something, a subtle beat snuck up on me, a sudden, subtle pulse, abstract bossa nova. The morning's horns hollow drifted over into static, sand in our palms, on our faces, rubs, would-be washes, raw strain. We were trying to get home, home gone was all I knew. We patted the heels of our hands together, like Muddy said, we got operatic. Rib cage theaters, Wayfair recruits, backstage, cold duck time. We were in heaven without knowing it, trying to make heaven home. Messed up, made it. Memory, theaters, rib cage twin. Mighty fine I felt. I stumbled, fell. I figured my foot hit a crack. What I wanted now bordered on quack, duck sonnets. I lay there, I took the pledge. Machine furtherance went on above my head, the grounding sound. I gnawed along the edges of thought, gear met gear, the morning's horns hollow my resort. Gear met convenient gear, sand in the works no matter, mesh the horns hollow exhumed. I took the horns hollow's pledge, fell but got back up. Cement river, would-be water's enablement, all my refugee worry took wing. The erstwhile river tilted our glasses. Concrete reverie it was we were in. The erstwhile river swelled our feet, little Oedipuses, we joked. Crab claws dangling from the sky overhead. The erstwhile river took away the floor. Duck sonnets made us bray like donkeys, in a key the dead alone could hear. Less an epiphany than a crack, more like a discrepancy. Duck sonnets, dub sonnets, sound and extrinsic sip. Dub an acoustic mass, put on crooked. Well the would-be river dipped us in. Thank you.